Hello there. Did you click on this video because you struggle with putting from a distance? Well, don't we all? Thankfully, the internet might have found a solution for us, which is interesting because you're here watching this on the internet. Well, don't worry, buckaroos, because hopefully after a few minutes, you'll go from this to this. So how you doing today, Bucky? Are you having a good one?
So catch me if I fall.
Putting is a skill in disc golf that I think obviously super important. You have to be able to putt because even if you throw 500-600 feet, but you don't have the ability to make putts, well, you're not gonna score very well. And having a good putt could actually help you, even if you don't have the distance, start scoring better and better. But the issue is, and one of the biggest reasons that we want to work on distance, is that even if you're making all of your putts inside the circle, you're making those closer putts, if you just never have the opportunity to putt from range, well, this can feel incredibly difficult to actually get good scores while you're out on the course. So a method that I've actually talked about in the past is using more of that lid type disc for those sort of approach shots, that flick of the wrist upshot approach. And personally, I like to lean into that. But while I was browsing the interwebs just a few days ago, this post got made. Hammerman Justin actually said, I feel like I found a C2 cheat code. When reading through the post, I thought it was interesting because I've adapted something similar myself, but I wanted to really take some of that thread and put it to the test. So what was the cheat code? The cheat code was that when you find yourself at range, trying to get your putter to make the distance, using a putting putter can feel really difficult. But sometimes player number two or other folks, like they may step up and be able to drain it from distance. Even when you've thrown an approach, let's say, I think where Hammerman Justin really was coming from was when I've thrown my drive and I've missed the long putt, if I just pick up the disc that I drove with and I go to throw it, well, oftentimes it can find itself in the basket. So that leads us to today's trial. I'm going to be putting from the edge of circle all the way out to the edge of circle 2, and I have brought a multitude of discs with me to try to see, does keeping my same putt but simply changing what I'm putting with change anything at all. I'm choosing to do this on a Marksman basket. This is the Marksman Light, unfortunately. And I have 3 different sets of discs, and there's 3 in each disc. Let's talk about them real fast. The first is actual putters. I have, of course, my Birdie Blend Wizards for a test because this is what I putt with regularly. I also brought another standard putter, the Dagger by Latitude 64. I loved putting with the Dagger until I played in wind for the first time, and I didn't notice it playing in tournaments. And I felt like I was having to aim at the cage because everything was going over because this putter was so glidey. So we got the Dagger, and then we also have a premium plastic inner core, another extremely glidey putter. These are our 3 traditional putting putters that we're going to be using as sort of a baseline test. Next up, we have the lids or the 1-speed, and funny enough, I mentioned it sort of in the intro to all this, I actually use the Polecat for some of these longer putts because the Polecat is so glidey. But we have the Polecat by Innova for one. We have the Glitch, dyed by Galactics. The Glitch, common lid type, probably the most common lid as of lately. And then we also have the Spore with the new Neo plastic. We're in the sun, so we're really getting a highlight of this. Yeah. I wish that they made these in the like Skystone plastic more so than this this super soft Neo, but we have these 3 lid options. And then last but not least, we actually have 3 mid-ranges. So we have the Uplink by MVP, super glidey, sort of understable putter. We have the Pearl, really excited for this one. I can't lose it out on the course like I did the last time I borrowed one of my wife's discs. So we have the Pearl, fantastic disc by Latitude 64, and then we have the Origin, the Discmania Origin. So a lot of great options in the mid-range slot, and I want to tell you some of my hypotheses before we get to the test. First hypothesis is that if you are a push putter, I think that going with something a little more glidey is actually going to help you a lot. It's one of the biggest weaknesses of push putting is getting the power on the putt without feeling like you're just lofting it way up and letting it crash in can be extremely difficult if you aren't transferring power correctly from the shot. I think that glide is going to be our friend there and sort of lofting it up, and so not the overstability letting it crash in, because that can be a problem. I do also think, hypothesis wise, that spin putters, this isn't necessarily an issue for them. For most spin putters, the issue on the ranged putts, if you really find yourself struggling, learn more of a spin putt, because where spin putters struggle is once you get inside the circle, if they miss on a spin putt, it's going to go 20 to 30 feet past the basket, and they don't love those long comebackers, which means that from range, spin putting could be better. I'm not a fantastic spin putter. I know the basics to be dangerous inside the circle of spin putting, but those long spin putts, that ain't me. But I do think that lots of folks are gonna find themselves, actually, if you're not as familiar with your putt, my other hypothesis is that it's going to be easier to get power transferred into the mid ranges, and that they're going to soar more, but I do think that they're going to be more stable on the other side. But because those long range putts can already feel uncomfortable for folks, the mid-range switch up could be exactly what they're looking for to add that confidence, because it already feels odd and different putting from that range anyways. So I'm sure it will feel equally odd putting a different disc in their hand, but putting two odds together just might make it right. I'm putting on a marksman basket because I think that if I can get putts to go in on a marksman basket, it's really gonna highlight this in a major way, like how good these are. Marksman baskets to me are gonna give a really good feel on good putts actually staying in, versus if we had a full-size basket out here, I don't think that the data would be as helpful, because you could have those lucky, like, grab one chain on the outer edge and it pulls it in, and that's not always gonna work. Whereas most of the time, if you make a good putt on a marksman basket, it's gonna actually stay in the basket. So that's why I've chosen the marksman basket. Also, I hate myself, and I figure Saigon may not have to quack on every single putt here, because we're gonna miss a lot of putts, but it's for the sake of science. So I hope you guys are okay with that. All right, so here's how the baseline goes. I think that in order for us to see, am I good at putting with this disc in general, I'm going to throw 3 putts from about 20 feet with each of the discs first, just to see, okay, how many am I making with each of them? That way we'll know, like, okay, if I went 3 for 3, that means I am confident, like I'm good with that putter. So we have good feedback. And if I go 0 for 3, well, then it may be this style of disc, like this particular mold I don't really putt well with. We'll have like specific data as well as like overall for the class, if that makes sense. So we'll have 9 putts with putting putters, and that'll tell you like, okay, well, I putted well with the Wizards because I actually putt with Wizards, kind of a deal. Hopefully that makes sense. We're gonna go edge of circle, mid circle 2, deep circle 2, and we're going to throw 3 putts from each of those stations. Also tried to make sure that I had different colors for each of them, so that way you knew. All right, starting off, putting putters. Here we go. We got Dagger, we got Wizard, and we got Inner Core. Classic. Okay, this is round 1. We got Spore, we've got Glitch, we've got Polecat. Mid-ranges, we have Origin, we have Uplink, and we have Pearl. Okay, Inner Core, Wizard, Dagger, Glitch, Spore, Polecat, Pearl, Origin, Uplink. Wizard, Dagger, Inner Core. Okay, Spore. I think I was supposed to go something else first. Okay, Origin, Uplink, Pearl. All right, so statistics wise, you have, I think, the most misses with the putting putters probably, and the most makes with the lids. Just gives you a confidence feel, and it's tough looking at it because I love it. I think it's a great throwing putter. I'm not the best putting putter with the Inner Core. Something about how it settles in my hand trying to putt with it, like my hand does some like weird thing every time I try to throw the Inner Core for a putt. But just wanted to get that like raw data out there before diving into the tests. But let's head to the edge of the circle and see how these go. Feeling good, putt not feeling like terrible. That was another reason I did that exercise as well, to know like, is my putt feeling on or off today? But let me know in the comments, you don't cheat or look ahead, what do you think is like gonna be the winning category in all of this, or what am my predispositions or whatever, like my pre-thoughts weren't even correct. Okay. Okay. So the glitch goes in, everything else misses. Polecat's in. Nope. Polecat I really thought was in. All right, so initial thoughts. We just finished Edge's Circle, and honestly, the facts that I thought to be true, results are kind of what I expected. When I find myself on a longer putt, especially on a marksman side basket, where like it's just so narrow, you subtly can like kind of restrict yourself and not want to fully commit. You can see on that second round of putts that I did with the actual putters, I was fully confident and I was like, all right, send them. Bang, 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 bang. This is why I love working on a marksman basket. But 4 out of 9 on the putting putters and 5 out of 9 on the lids makes total sense, because I really do. I practice, like I throw my polecat on a lot of lofty circle 2 putts. I'm not surprised that none of the mids went in, because honestly, I think where the mid's really gonna shine is when you're a little farther out and you have to give it that power, that the mid really takes over and you get that extra speed and it gets there faster. I do feel like the lids got there a lot slower. I think the lids are gonna struggle traditional putting from range. I'd be willing to bet almost all of them are gonna be short. I think if I'm edge of circle, most of the time I'm just using my normal putting putter anyways. And once I found that groove, yeah, like even the putting putters that missed in round 2 or round 3 still felt really good. We're gonna go midway back. Now, another thing about me personally is as a push putter, for some reason, like you should be able to get some like range from like rocking back onto the foot and pushing forward, but I find more power in the straddle. So I'm gonna straddle and we're gonna straddle and I'll give a little step, because even from here, I don't need the step necessarily, but it does feel like I get that extra oomph out of it to try to carry towards the basket. So we're not trying to foot fault, and I'm sure if I do end up foot faulting, someone's gonna freeze frame it and send it to me and tell them I did it wrong, but I've never been called on a foot fault during a tournament, whether the rule's good or not. Here we go. Two, three. What? Let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yep. Since found a solution for us. All right, circle 2 range, definitely one, like mid circle 2. That's one of those areas that, like, if you can get consistent from there, you're gonna feel good. What I like here is the mid ranges had a chance. Lots of the mid ranges went really well. Probably the least consistent category was the putters, just because I feel like I had to give the putters more than I had to give anything else. The lids, once again, really shine in that area because you can just kind of toss them up. Now, wind dependent, obviously the lids can take off a lot more, so putting putters could hold a little bit better there, but I feel like we drew metal more on the mids than we did the putting putters even. So curious data. Let's head to the edge of circle 2. This is certainly a range where I feel like I'm having my best chances with that flick of the wrist upshot, not necessarily like a standard putt. So this is really, from a push putter, this is well beyond comfort range. I'm gonna give these an educated guess, an educated shot at it, but these are a hope and a prayer. Even really just trying to let the glide of that show, but yeah. I may only even do 2 rounds from that range because I don't think we're necessarily going to gather a lot of data. I mean, yeah, I'm having to toss these up to the wind. That could be good. Oof, nope. Yeah. I want to try one more example real fast from that range, just to demonstrate something real fast. Let's try from this range. Nope. Okay. Ugh. Final thoughts heading in, looking at this. Here's what I think. From edge of circle 2, outside of circle 2 is really where we're putting because we were at 66 feet there, so we were outside of circle 2. I notice that for a push putter, to get the disc there, you can't just simply like pop it like so, especially with wind in an open field like this. So I do think spin putting from range, absolutely what you're looking for. Even if I just go 1 round to 1 round. So I take the second round of putts from outside of circle 2 and compare them to the only round that I threw of the flick of the wrist upshots. I liked my chances and how the attempts looked more on the flick of the wrist upshots than I did on almost any of the outside of circle 2 putts that we had that were traditional putts. If you can mentally trick yourself into some way of making more putts, and it's repeatable, please do it. I think about the Bogey Bros at Foundation. They did a Bogey Bro battle against these guys in Charleston, and this dude was just killing them with a crystal roach, putting with a premium plastic roach. For me, traditional push putting from that far away, I've got a way better chance of ringing up my polecat. You just gotta find what works for you. So do I think this video is a failure? Not really. Hopefully it opens some people's eyes to like a different approach you can take. If you are a person who putts with a mid, let me know. What do you use? What do you like to putt with for your mid? Or if you're like, you find yourself in these categories, anything in here that shocked you from results. In the meantime, I wanna say thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we kept this under 20 minutes. I will tell you, that was my goal coming in. I wanted to make sure that we got a somewhat shorter video out to you. Did we accomplish it? I don't know. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Please make it fantastic for someone else too. But for now, we're gonna leave you with the birdie.